Today we are here to know one of those amazing names yenye zinafanya Pwani Innovation Week ikuwe possible.
Yes.
Hey, so kijana mdogo.
Wow.
Karibu, who are you? What do you do?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's really good to be here. Nimeitwa kijana mdogo. So
itikia tu.
behave kama kijana mdogo.
Kijana mdogo.
My name is Enos Weswa, and I work with the British High Commission as the country director for the UK Kenya Tech Hub.
Hey, jamani, these big jobs mnasitwanga wapi? Tuanzie hapa. How does one apply for these big jobs? Vijana wapewe kazi bana.
No, actually, it's usually a rare opportunity, but I really do love my job. It's really about supporting entrepreneurs. Yes, and I would just say, especially when it comes to application, especially for the youth, you just try. You try. If you have the right credentials, you just apply. Now, who knows? Utajipata tu uko in some good position where you can influence. Unajua sometimes tunasemanga I wish ningekuwa kwa hiyo position until you get there. Then you realize, okay.
Hauko unafanya.
Niweke tuone. Niwekeni tuone.
Then una realize kwamba hasikuwa unafaa kwa hapa. Unafaa kwa mahali
nishafika. Ai wewe. Anyway, I think the thing about us journalists is we go deep into your portfolios.
Yes.
So you've been in the innovation space for quite some time. So I want to know what first drew you to tech and development work in Kenya? Because I mean, you already have the exposure. I know you work with the UK. Mbona tu siende ukiendanga bana? Yeah. So why Kenya?
No, actually, I am a Kenyan. And I have been through the system. So I, of course, after finishing high school, everyone wants to try out, but I had a unique opportunity to working with amazing people when just before getting to campus, and a lot of that shaped what I am today and why I'm in the innovation and tech space. But I am also a very creative person.
Oh, wow.
Right from my first business. So I'm a creative person, 2 times founder. So biashara ina run kwa damu.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Yeah. Hey,
so started my first company even before getting to university. So it was more graphic design. I was so good at graphic design that I worked with some serious multinational companies developing concepts and advertising. I worked with brands like Coca-Cola, Mercedes-Benz. Those were big brands.
Ndio nauliza hizi kazi watu huwa wanatoa wapi Salim?
Ni kujituma.
I like that. Yes. Ni kujituma. Nilikuwa najituma.
Ni God manze, by the way. Hamna different.
Ni kujuanish and then ujitume.
I like that.
Ujitoe.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that's what.
Nitafanya kazi na Mercedes-Benz na Coca-Cola alafu the UK.
Yeah, and it was really fueled by that the creativity. I really wanted to do stuff. I didn't want to sit back and watch people do stuff. And even I had real challenges in uni because of my impatience with thinking, okay, then I graduate, I get a job, and I am just so much more than looking for a job. I'd rather create jobs.
You'd rather create jobs.
Yes,
you want to create jobs without a job. Interesting. So down to business. I feel like you're one of those people who get to meet innovators a lot. Not only in this country but peer outside. I feel like when you wenye mnakwanga na exposure. So I want to know what actually stands out na innovators with the coastal region, because you must be here for a reason. What's standing out to you?
Creativity is a big part of it. And I think depending I always like the fact that youth were the coastal region. I don't want to create a debate because I'm sure some people will come and start arguing. But I think the level of creativity is really great. And that's really what fuels a good business or innovation-driven enterprise. So kuna terms zingine, like I would say, there's a local business. Tuseme umenda umebuy something at a cheaper price, you're coming to sell it at a higher price, but different areas where there's affordability and all that. So that's what I call a local business. But I've also been listening to Aquaculture Kitty, the first session, and she spoke about efficiency. She spoke about differentiating her business. So differentiate your business, you know, EO is actually a component of creativity. You need to figure out, how do I make my business different?
Well, Tana, you have to be unique. The
you
market
have to
is
be,
very competitive.
It's very competitive. Na unajua Kenya has always that bit. Ukianzisha kitu watu waone una make do. Everyone is
kila mtu sasa anataka forex. Kila mtu anafanya online writing.
Exactly. So when you differentiate yourself, it gives you some mileage to actually sort of dominate that market. What does that mean? You can actually scale and make more money. And we're always saying, if you can actually dare to be creative, then you'll significantly have some mileage to deliver. And that's what creativity, the power of creativity is, to differentiate your business from the rest. And I like, because Mombasa, or rather the coastal region, I think, I don't want to go to specifics or lessons about creativity, but there's that bit that really fuels creativity. It's the environment is sometimes even, I will not say when you have, because remember when you are a kid, you used to experiment a lot. You used to do some stuff and get beaten for that. And you're looking at that, and right now it feels like after growing up, there are things you cannot do. You feel it's more risky to try new things. And there's always where old people always, you compare Gen Zs and millennials.
Programming, bro. Let me tell you something. I kid you not. I think we had this conversation about Gen Zs and millennials and the way we think so differently for the past 2 years. Umwaka bado tunaiongelelea. And you know what? From where I'm seated, ikitwa yendi. Yes, but anyway.
Yes, because ukiuliza Gen Z twende, atasema twende. And then ukiambia millennial twende, atakuuliza wapi. Tunafanya nini, saa ngapi, tunarudi saa ngapi. And even it gets worse when you get older. Because, so you'll find that I really have, we need to tap kwa hii sort of drive in the youthful population, because wanajituma and they can take up on the world. And that's why I think even that's why we target university students, the youth. But I think for coastal region, I'll just make it and just emphasize on the fact that they are creative.
They're just creative.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So you're leading this year's Innovation Challenge. Innovation Challenge. Yes. I think maybe nimeita innovating because it's going to be continuous, of course, immediately after watu tuendelea nayo. So I want to know, can you tell us what it's all about? Because I am personally really, really excited. So nataka tu kionjo before watu wengine wajue, you know.
So, the background ni kwamba kuna a lot that the youth has to offer. There's a lot that the youth has to offer, but especially the university student. So I know Tony Omwanza came on one of these shows.
Yes.
And so we work closely with Tony Omwanza on something called Startup School. So I'm sure you've heard terms like startups.
Yes.
And a lot of this, actually come from university. When you look at communities, startup communities that are very strong, you've heard of the Silicon Valley, a lot of that comes from university, but also there's the part that hubs play to actually make it happen, because they have the space, they have the connection and all that. So we thought the best way is to actually, students and youth have said they're extremely creative and they take onto the world, like they are very audacious to do that. So when you tap that, you'll find that they flex with the skills they have. There's a lot of digital skills around. Someone will tell you, I can do an AI, and right now with ChatGPT, again, you can get a lot of these things. But question is, most important thing about business is creating value. So the only challenge they have is to understand challenges or problems that can actually create commercial value or market value. And that's what you want to bring. So we merge those students and their skills with industry who faces some challenges. And here industry specifically picked logistics. Now, why logistics? I think it was quite easy to just pick that Mombasa, and being a hub of transportation, of course, we have the port, and we have depots, CFS, we have a lot of the value chain around truck owners, fleet owners, who are in this business. And ukienda tuseme you're going to Nairobi, you'll find a long queue somewhere along that road before you exit Mombasa. A long queue of trucks. And sometimes they just can become even chaotic to an extent that they actually hold a lot of traffic. So there are some interaction with industry that was quite key to find out what challenges do they have, and can this challenge be addressed by digital and AI that these students have. It was really amazing to see yesterday students really create amazing tech solution or digital solution, AI solution. And the industry guys who were in the room, they actually were amazed and basically were looking forward to see how can we model or even pilot some of those solutions. So
that's interesting.
Yes, we really wanted it to be easy for the student to pilot. It wasn't like your normal hackathon, una win prize, muna disappear, or no, it was, we really want to see that these now become the next generation of solutions created by our young people, but guided by the industry, because the industry will absorb those solutions.
That's lovely. So it means if these students are creating things that these industries do not have already, and these are ideas that the industries have not come up with, it means you guys actually need these students, man. Like, we are complaining about unemployment. These industries are not taking our people. And tuseme tu kweli, a lot of the time, young people come up with ideas, adi wana pitch, adi inafika mahali, and then inakufa. Oblivious of the fact that the idea is good, ni venye tu hauna funding na watu wenye watakushikilia huko nyuma, and then msee anasema I came up with something, the industry stole it, because tuseme kweli, in the industry you guys have people who can code, you have people who can put these things together. So how are these students who are showing up now protected with their ideas? Hazitaibiwa?
I like that. And one of the industry partner yesterday who was present, he's actually a founder, and he's been supporting a lot of logistic company build digital infrastructure, including tracking and scheduling and all that. But he said one thing that is profound. See, we are trying to be the buffer that can sort of regulate a lot of these ideas being stolen. But ideally, it's not like the industry would actually, most of them do not have the knowledge that these students have. I'll tell you, of course, they have an IT person and all this, but just employing someone who can develop something for you, that's a whole different level. We just sometimes we assume that they can actually get. Again, the other thing is, for industry, their core business is always either kumove hizo fleet, kuzimonitor, and that's their core business. And it was amazing that the industry partner highlighted vitu zenye hata we were shocked, because he said the only way they get notification is on WhatsApp. So you can imagine.
That's so simple.
Yes, it's so simple. But again, you go to a CFS, umepeleka maybe, you go to a depot, umepeleka empties, unapata, kumeja. And that's how they cause a lot of traffic. So umepata notification kwa WhatsApp, unaenda huko, kufika huko kumeja. There's nothing to monitor. And so you realize the students, and even when you look at the big, like I've said, the Silicon Valley, and they actually tapped on the students' ability to think differently, to innovate. So kwa industry itself, because of bureaucracy, because of the investment, because of the approvals, utapata, they cannot even run innovation to an extent, because their thinking is so hardwired to actually bureaucracy. Lazima you approve. Lazima he. But when you get those companies that really want innovation, they have a way of also acknowledging that he may develop you as students. But also there's IP that we actually teach and embed and actually see. Even Tony will agree that a lot has been done to actually develop and get the student understand things like IP. There's actually whole session on IP at the Pwani Innovation Week, run by one of our implementing partners called Anza Village.
Oh.
Yes, so you can check it out. So that's a whole protection masterclass of ideas.
So before we take a small break, I think we all have challenges. Na easy challenges, I think umekuwa interact nazo for the longest time because you've been working with innovators. So what's the one common challenge? Juu kuna wenye wako na watu wako willing to invest, kuna wenye wanaanza from scratch, kuna wenye they're still students, man. Hata internship hawajafanya. By the way, when I was in campus, hakuna kitu ilikuwa inani excite kama there is an event somewhere na mnakuwa involved, mnapewa lunch. Maybe hadi kutakuwa na pesa inakuja after. You know, so what's this one common challenge yenye una feel Pwani Innovation Week inafaa kusolve for these young people?
That's a complex question because there's actually not. It's a complex question in that there are layers of challenges.
So you have unique solutions without unique challenges.
So no, I'll actually try and address, because by default people will say we don't have money. Okay, but when you come and say, okay, we usually have this hackathon and they disappear, we don't see the progress of most of this solution. So you realize somehow ideas that have value attract funding. And I'll give you an example. There's a young guy I mentored some time back. He's been on the news over and over. He's called Eli. He runs a company called Signverse. He was given Presidential Innovation Award, and he started like just any normal student. I have so many examples of students who actually, their solution now is valued at 200 million USD.
What?
Yes. They started as student. I actually saw them, and through innovation platform like Innovation Week, like the Nairobi Innovation Week. I don't know if you've heard of WorkPay. WorkPay, they actually they started as university students. There's Flex Pay, they started as university students. I've seen them. And they had a platform being run by a hub. So a platform called Innovation Week. So they showcased, but their mindset was a bit different. And that's what actually we want Pwani Innovation Week to actually bring about, that you're building solutions. You're not, I know you love the free lunch, the everything.
Absolutely.
Yes, which is part of the package. Which is part of the package. I absolutely agree with you. It's part of the package. But also, when at the backdrop of unemployment, if we can actually have a mindset of that we actually have the ability, which I know and I believe strongly, to actually be job creators, you would actually think solving the right problem for the market. And that's why we brought industry, so that within a short time you can actually see the fruits of your hard work. Like now we've gotten just the first customer to actually deploy, and those are the industry people. Within a short time umeanza kutest product yako na maybe one of the depot or one of the fleet managers, to actually show that it's efficient and it works. Over time, you get the returns to your hard work. So how do we shorten that? Because sometimes also the waiting window is longer. Una get discouraged. Una after a job. We've had those scenarios where umetoka kwa hackathon and you're asking for a job. So it's how do we create our own jobs? And how do we create the next level of solutions that can be bought? Yeah.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Okay. Mimi swali langu ni rahisi sana.
Na kama naongea kizungu mingi
No.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine, man.
Your friend, Dr. Tony Omwansa, when he was here, he said innovation has a stage. It's between 1 to 9.
Yes.
And the most difficult stage is between 4 and 5. Hapo mpaka 6 a little bit inapotea.
Yes.
Now most of the industry players, they love it at 6, 7 na huko mbele. Now the most difficult part ni hapa kwenye hiyo 4, 5 and a little bit of 6.
Yes.
So with the challenge of logistic venye umeitaja hiyo mafleet na hiyo matrailer na blah blah blah, how did you come about that? And solution hii considering hiyo part ya 4, 5 and 6. Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah. So alikuwa naongea kuhusu hizo stage, and we really know because tuseme at that level ni ina depend na entrepreneur themselves to really push hard, kujituma.
Yes.
And kujituma is haikwangi rahisi. And then the people who are supposed to support you are struggling maybe to understand how it's going to be value to them.
Yes.
Now the challenge with that is that we need to engage the industry earlier on, even at the framing of the challenge, the framing of the problem. And I think yesterday the industry partner alikuwa the most demanded person in the room, because students were like asking 1,000 questions of how to build it right. Because I believe the foundation, and I'll tell you, the foundation at that stage, when you look at early, when you look at work pay, when you look at analyze, unapata hiyo stage walifika kama they had already shown value and how it's going to be plugged in and how it's going to generate a revenue, return. So sometimes you can actually, and it's usually a very interesting statement. I usually say, not all solutions have a problem.
Okay.
Oh, not all solutions
do have a problem.
Then what's the solution for? Like, then it's not a solution, but it's just something you're doing.
So we actually do a lot of things that we just do to flex, or we do because we have knowledge of doing it, but not necessarily solving a real problem. So, and I'll give you an example. Ukisema, let's say, for instance, I usually use this example. A guy who goes to live with the uncle, and the uncle lived next to a railway station, and it's very noisy. What will come to your mind is that this is a problem. Let's try and sort it, and you will create some things for the noise. And then if you just paid attention and asked the uncle, do you need a noise solution? The uncle will ask you, what noise are you talking about? Because amezoea. You know,
I get
yes, you get what I mean. Because amezoea. So our interpretation of problems, again, they have to come from the market or the industry to actually capture that this is really what they want. And so part of our initial building of any solution is actually going back to the problem. Unpack the problem. So a student, kama weni, you know, if you're a computer science student, you've been taught how to develop apps. Like they do develop so many apps. So how many apps have you downloaded and never used after the first experience? Quite a number.
So for you guys, it's all about the numbers. Like there has to be a mass of people who need this solution for you guys to move on to developing. Because otherwise, it will look like this. Umesema the uncle mwenye akona nyumba.
Karibu na railway.
Yes.
Kuna kelele.
Lakini
yeye amezoea.
Yes, his nervous system is already set in this environment. So he doesn't need a solution. Mwenye amekuja mpya ni yeye peke yake akona an issue. Unacheki? So hizi mnazilenga.
Unaona akikuwa na hiyo issue within a week. There's something called habituation problem and how our mind works. Within a week atakuwa ameutlive. Atakuwa amezoea. Na I had there was a training I was doing and the lady was like, watu wa Mombasa, you know how mwadhini, you hear the mwadhini? Yes. Watu wa Mombasa hawasikiangi, lakini watu wa Nairobi wakikuja wanasema that's quite loud, especially ukishi karibu na
we actually slip through it.
Yes.
We slip through it. It's crazy. When I first got to Mombasa, by the way, I really had that problem because I stayed in hostels. So like hostels za tum, kuna mosque katikati ya shule, literally. By the way, it was actually really crazy to experience it. Na hostels zimeshikana na mosque, like unaweza fanya somo ugonge ukuta ya hostels. So I struggled with it for like a year, you know. And then sahi I also live next to a mosque. Lakini sijaisikia mosque, like unless ni mchana, but asubuhi Salim ndio nakwambia.
Hujasikia hata leo. Amesha normalize. It's life, ni culture.
And that's what I'm talking about. There are actually some amazing, and you'll realize that you can actually create a solution and start looking for a problem. Sasa hiyo inakuanga dangerous because you'll try to convince people to buy. You see. And how many times have you been convinced to buy something na naona he
nanunua tu.
Like the PR has to actually be good, you know.
Yes, and the PR is about value yenye wewe mwenyewe umepick, umesema hii iko na value. So we try to really create that value. And hata kwa pitching competition, it's not just pitching because you're eloquent and all that. It's about demonstrating and communicating the value you're creating. So at the core of it is the value.
Wow, at the core of it is the value. So as we talk about this, I think by the way kuna kitu inaitangwa double standards. But that nikiwa kwa ground, you know, let me speak on behalf of the young people. Moja nioge. So a lot of young people were like, maybe these people who are talking to us hawajawaita seka, because oh my god, I even hosted one of the people who was like a CEO. This guy sidhani kama amewahi panda matatu, bro. Like this guy is talking to people wenye kwa ground sisi tunateseka, wewe you're saying vumilia, you know, you have to be patient. Yeah, I have to be patient. No, ulienda Strath, mama sijui ulienda USIU, but like you got to interact with people in the industry, and then immediately after you got to employment. So I wanna know, wewe kiwewe, what have you developed that's on the market? Like kijana ukikana yeye hivi chini, una mentor from scratch ukisema hata mimi nikiwa mdogo, you know, hata mimi nilienda hackathon, nikatengeneza ABCD, I sold to. Yes, what do you have?
I like that question, and being put on the spot is what I love. Because the reason why I have absolute sort of respect and even interest for entrepreneurs is when I like I mentioned, I started my company just before I got to university. At second year, I actually got a contract worth 1 million Kenya shillings.
Wow.
At second year.
Na bado kaendelea na shule.
Okay, that's a long story.
That would have been my turning point.
I didn't continue. I'm very realistic. I didn't continue. I dropped out of campus. I dropped out of campus, which is usually a very interesting story. But what you've said is quite key. I go back to campus because I relate with my journey as a student. I was in Chiromo. I went through the public uni and all that, and I know the brains in those university and the experimentation quotient, like they want to experiment. I worked on that business for about 10 years, but things became really hard.
Things really got hard.
And question now, you see, a lot of what people look at as a successful business are very different. And the pressure you'll get from sort of your university peers, your people who hold you, like, this is the entrepreneur. There was always that pressure. Who you entrepreneur, who you are konamado. No. But what happened is that first, they rate that with either an office or how many people you've employed.
Really? It's not the money that you're bringing in and the car you're driving. Mimi najuanga biashara
iko successful.
Wewe na Mercedes, you know, kwa BMW. Hivyo ndivyo najua biashara inachacha, pesa inaingia.
You know, I actually had to close the office. I remodeled my business, and it was the first time I actually bought a car.
Okay.
Because
after umefuta watu kazi, after umefunga ofisi.
Sio nimefuta kazi. Nime remodel. There's something called business model. Nika downsize. So in the eyes of many people, it would be you're winding down.
Yes.
Okay? But now I looked at my cost component. Because unajua biashara ni economics.
Yes.
It is driven by demand and supply. But most importantly, they all have a cost and a revenue unit to it. So my revenue unit weren't that strong. My cost unit nilikuwa nalipia ofisi na nalipia na I go look for work for the people I had employed. So I renegotiated with them. I said, I will actually be calling you when I have some gigs zenye ziko zinahitaji many people. And then I discovered my customers weren't coming to the office. I have a posh office. I pay rent. So what I did, I called my customers and told them, I am not, what I'll do, because you always want me to come to you. I said, why don't you give me a desk? And because I'm going to come there, it's going to be treated as a premium package. Okay? So I said, for this premium package, I renegotiated and say, I'm giving you a block hour of this. So you buy the hour. So I'm not paying internet. I'm not paying
physical location.
Yes. But I have actually increased my revenue. Okay? Just because of that. And then I actually wanted some recurrent, not per job, you know, or per contract. So I renegotiated by saying, why don't we have what we call a retainer contract for at least a year? So my target was to get at least 4 retainer contracts, at least across. I was working with banks, so I managed to get that. And so I was assured at the end of the month, I have a steady income coming in. Because I know biashara pia ni hard, especially cash flow.
Yes.
And what happened is, after that is when I embraced the concept of business modeling. But actually, when I fell sick, the business fell sick.
Yes.
So I was like, what kind of business where I can actually be sick, but the business continues?
Yes.
So it pushed me to actually understand the business model that could scale over time and using digital. That's why I'm in tech and digital. Because digital showed me, Facebook, mtu wa Facebook, anafanya nini? Ako, ana make mado, na bado, ako tu sawa.
Oh, okay. So hapa naona kuna watu wamekutumia maswali. By the way, if you have a question and you have not yet sent it, muda unakimbia lakini just WhatsApp us at 0700-917-917 or call in at 0732-917-917. Now kuna mtu hapa amekataa kutupatia jina. Anasema, do they just work with students, or what young people do they target? And then Mar from Marekani anasema, ni kama the guest telepathically knew what I wanted to know, bana. So anataka kujua, in his experience, in your experience of course, what are the key steps or mindsets required to transform a new innovation into a commercially viable and sustainable business venture? It's a big question, but tabidi ume break down tu kidogo, tumebakisha only 4 minutes.
Okay. One, it's just, you're supposed to be driven by a very valid problem. And because creating solution is not the hardest. The hardest is creating a solution that people can pay for and come back. That coming back is what really defines an innovation. And there are so many times we've purchased things for the first time, and trust me, it's the last time you're buying.
Or later
because either the experience, unaona mekukon, you know, it's because sometimes marketing can work wonders, but it can also be a downfall because you have overpromised and under-deliver. Okay? And I will challenge. A lot of Kenyans are very good at that. Promising. And when it comes to, but a brand is not this logo on a t-shirt. A brand is a promise made and a promise kept. A lot of business ride on brands they have built. So how do we keep the promise? So if you create a value that people will come back and know how well to deliver it, then you will always have return customers. So that's at the very basic. Please look at the value people. And trust you me, in Kenya, it's easy to actually make business sense. And I'll tell you why. Because we've suffered a lot. Our threshold for stomaching bad things is actually quite interesting. Like, we've been disappointed for a long time. Mtu akikufanyia kitu ile mpaka unafeel, you're just like, is this a Kenyan? Because they actually treat you, unafeel, I have value for money. I have service beyond what I asked for. And so our nature, because we've been going through a lot of challenges, you'll find that you can actually create a very good business easily because of how much we've been frustrated by the system, by everything. So can we take that opportunity to actually create a brand that really works? Money is attracted when you have value. And I'll tell you, there are more than one person who's willing to put some money because they're also in business, because you're delivering value in a very sustainable manner.
Hey, muda umekimbia lakini jamani, I felt so inspired. Sahi ukiniona hivi nikicheza na laptop Salim, wewe jua naenda uko Pwani Innovation to walk away with my millions. To walk away with my millions. There is no way. Well, alipata milioni yake ya kwanza. Which year was that?
That was now you're trying me to reveal your making me reveal my age. But it was in 2009.
2009. So sahi venye economy imeenda hivi. Sahi mkinipatia 10 million akinitashukuru. Oh my goodness. Now it's exactly the top of the hour. Yes. I just want to remind you that Pwani Innovation Week is up and happening bana. Pale Swahili Port Hub Foundation, and in fact the session that's coming in is at the main auditorium. The topic is Youth and National Affairs, Rethinking Governance Systems and Economic Futures. The guest speaker leo ni Honorable Fikiri Jacobs, the principal secretary. Fikirini Jacobs.
Yes.
Wow. He's the principal secretary of the state.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be a really
youth.
Yes. I think it's going to be a beautiful conversation. Kwanza moderator ni Miriam Angil, imekalia kiti chake.
Iko sangapi?
Miriam is the one who's moderating.
Yes. From 9 to 10:30, boss yangu.
Say we can't make it.
Say we can't make it, but you know what? Tuna support from the back. Manze, it's been good, it's been lovely. Maybe utupatie a parting shot.
Oh, thank you. I'm really honored to have come this morning and to have had this conversation. You're amazing people. And I hope manage to create something.
Invest in us. Invest in us.
I'm always ready to invest if you actually have value.
Na motivation.
Yes.
Hakuna motivation.
So I'll just say the UK Kenya Tech Hub is a British High Commission initiative or UK government initiative that supports entrepreneur. We actually have levels. I know someone has asked kuna university, but we have levels. We actually even target those who are not in university. And we have layers. We are creating a whole layer of investors who are willing to actually now put money on these businesses we are trying to support, create. And then other than that, if you grow to another level, we can actually now take you to the big money in the UK. And we have a lot of that as well. So I'll just encourage people to stay in touch, and we really love collaboration, working with young people. Pwani Swahili Port Hub has been phenomenal. We also work with the Sote Hub and work with Vestavel Hub and quite a number of hubs in Mombasa. So just feel free to reach out. Our handles, we have a handle UK Kenya Tech Hub on Twitter, on LinkedIn. We and